He then pitched in AAA. Nobody picked him up off waivers, and he pitched pretty good in AAA. He had 10 starts, 16 appearances, a 1.40 ERA, 2.21 FIP. So when rosters expanded, the Pirates were like, okay, we'll add you back to the 40-man roster, Adames. 2 weeks later, Neil Huntington's like, psych, bye, Adames, and he gets cut. And at that point, he goes over to Japan. So he's already had 3 years in Korea. Now he goes over to Japan for a season. And after Japan, for 2017, November of 17, headed into the 18 season, he signed a minor league deal with the Brewers. He pitched 22 1/3 innings at AAA, but the Brewers released him not even into the full season, June 1st. So at this point, I mean, Radames is just, he's going back and forth, Asia to the USA, minor league contract after minor league contract, in DFA, and not having much success. Well, he's like, I'll try another country, okay? So he goes over to China this time. He's had Korea, he's had Japan, it's now time for China, right? So he goes to the Flamingo Monkeys. 2019, did pretty well. But in January 2020, he had a herniated disc in his back. And Flamingo's like, yeah, Radames, we're not all about veteran pitchers like you having herniated discs. Bye-bye. And obviously it's not been easy for him to find a job. Maybe he could have went back to Korea, but it's just been an interesting career, and I hope you like me revisiting that journey again in a little bit of more a cinematic way, if you will. But again, we went over this with César Izturis. We went over this with Dion Stafford. Now we're going to go over this with Radames Liz, and I think a few of you the hands might go up here, but wherever you are, working, driving, chilling, I don't care. Stop what you're doing. Put it down. Okay? And raise your hand for me if you remember Radames Liz from the 2015 season. Hands up. Mine is. Anybody else? Okay. Let me make a guess. I would say about 30% of your hands went up. It's easy to forget about some pitchers, and I don't want to give away some of my forgotten guys that I have planned for the coming podcast if we don't have baseball in the near future. But fine. I'll give you a couple. Johnny Barbado, Jan Marinez, Angel Sanchez. I mean, just a couple guys that you might not have forgotten about. And we still might do segments on them later, but there are just certain guys that slip the mind. Radames Liz certainly, he didn't necessarily slip my mind altogether. Like, he was definitely on the forefront, and the guy that I know, okay, we're gonna do him along with César Izturis today. But I hope you guys aren't getting too bogged down with these forgotten Pirate segments. I took the whole week off last week, for crying out loud. We went over the draft. Don't blame me. The draft was fun last week, though. 2 weeks ago now. But Radames Liz, what a career. I mean, at least he can say that he fought, he scratched, and he clawed, but don't want to be rude here, but it clearly wasn't good enough for Radames. And you know what I miss? Just sort of thinking about it on the top of my head right now before we get into the next segment here. Our last segment. I miss the days when the Pirates were analytically advanced and Ray Searage was seen as top of the line. You come to Pittsburgh, you're getting your career fixed, and that's what Radames Liz banked on. If you just think of some of the reclamation projects, some of the more successful ones, Francisco Liriano, AJ Burnett, Edinson Volquez, like, pitchers came here and they loved Ray Searage. Now, obviously, yet to be seen as to what Oscar Marin is going to bring to the table as the new Pirates pitching coach, but I miss those days where it was like, yes, Ray Searage, one of the best pitching coaches in baseball, and then last year, when I had to come to, not really my senses, but see the writing on the wall and realize that Ray Searage is behind the times. But I definitely miss those days. And I thought this segment was fun, going over Radames Liz, and I promise, that is it for our forgotten Pirates for the week. Shortstop might be the Pittsburgh Pirates' deepest position in terms of young players, but out of them, who is the best? When you look at the Pittsburgh Pirates roster minor league system, you'll see a trend. The Pirates have many top prospects and young players who are very talented position players, but a lot of them are middle infielders, guys who have experience at shortstop and second base. With so many top prospects that can play those positions, it can be hard to find who's the most talented out of the bunch, who has the highest ceiling, the highest floor. It's easy to look at prospects lists and say that this player is better than that player, but sometimes you have to look a bit deeper. So with that, I want to take a look at the Pittsburgh Pirates' top middle infield prospects and try to identify who the best is. However, I should note this one important detail. I will be considering Cole Tucker here. Although by the rules of the MLB, Tucker graduated prospect status last year, he barely made it to rookie status in 2019. You need at least 130 at-bats to get rookie status, and he had 147. He might not be eligible for any sort of NL Rookie of the Year voting, but it's not by enough that I think he should be left off. Plus, since he was optioned, he is part of the Pirates farm system. Now, out of the Pittsburgh Pirates minor league middle infielders, the best batter is up for debate. If you weigh power over hit, then your guy is O'Neal Cruz. Cruz has outstanding power potential. The shortstop blasted 14 home runs and had a .202 isolated slugging percentage in 2018 and had a slugging percentage above 500 before being moved to Double-A. Cruz's body frame of 6'7", 210 pounds gives reason to why he could reach that potential. Fangraphs has his game power at 30 with a future of 60. In terms of raw power, he has a current grade of 70 and a future of 80. Those grades are better than Jordan Alvarez, comparable to Aaron Judge, and fall just short of Pete Alonso. Although, I think Fangraphs' grade for his hit tool is a bit low at a future of just 40. You can't deny that Cruz might just be the best power hitter in the Pirates system. If you value hit over power, then Liover Peguero is the guy you want to focus on. Last year, with the Arizona Diamondbacks rookie ball and single-A affiliates, Peguero had a .326 batting average and .382 on-base percentage in 249 plate appearances. He even had a .364 batting average in rookie ball. Although he only has a current hit grade of 25, Peguero just turned 19 before the new year. He is seen as a guy with a future hit grade of 60, which is what White Sox standout Yoan Moncada has for his hit tool. Last year, he reached a .300 batting average plateau at .315 with a .367 on-base percentage. Power-wise, Peguero has much less power potential than Moncada, but his overall average to below average power grades with a future 40 game and 50 raw power grades, that's almost identical to St. Louis Cardinals shortstop Paul DeJong, who still had a solid .444 slugging percentage and 61 extra base hits. League average slugging percentage in 2019 was .435. If you're looking for a great fielder, Tucker is your guy. Tucker has a 50 current grade and future 55 grade for his fielding. He also has an outstanding arm with a 70 current and future grade. While that's an impressive number, it isn't the strongest, with Cruz coming in at 80. Still, Cruz isn't nearly the fielder Cole is, as the slugging Cruz has a 40-45 future grade for his fielding. The switch hitter showed off his fielding at the MLB level in his brief MLB tenure, and the 318 and two-third innings Tucker played with the Pittsburgh Pirates, he racked up a +2 DRS, 0.3 range runs, and 0.9 UZR. His UZR 150 was an outstanding 4.6, which is adjusted if the player kept up the same defensive ability over an entire season. A 4.6 UZR 150 would be one of the top 30 highest marks in baseball. Gold Glove Award winners Colton Wong and Yolmer Sanchez both had UZR 150s, just above Tucker's at 4.9 for Wong and 5 for Sanchez. Indian standout third baseman Jose Ramirez had a 4.5 UZR 150 as another comparison. Tucker also has plus speed with a current 55 speed grade, 50 future grade, and 28.8 feet per second sprint speed, which can help him cover a good amount of ground. But batting-wise, Tucker won't be that big of a batter. He does walk a fair amount at a 9.3% walk rate, but he only has a career .374 slugging percentage and 25 home runs in the minors. His future is like a .260 average, .350 on base, .400 slugging batter, which isn't all that bad considering a .350-ish on base percentage is a very good for a player with his speed and ability to add value with his fielding. However, the aforementioned Peguero also has a future fielding grade of 55. While Tucker does edge him out in the throwing arm ability as Peguero comes in at 55. That still puts the centerpiece of the Starling Marte trade having an above-average arm. He is also faster than Tucker with a current speed grade of 60 and future grade of 55. He also has a higher ceiling and floor with the bat than Tucker. Looking at all the impactful factors, Peguero is probably the best middle infielder the Pirates have in their farm system. He can do a bit of everything. He's a good hitter who will have a bit of power in the future, can run well, and is a good fielder. Cruz has the power and isn't a bad base runner, but he isn't as good of a fielder. Plus, his final position probably isn't shortstop. Cole Tucker is a great fielder and can run well, but he isn't nearly as good of a batter. Peguero is very well-rounded. While his power is probably his weakest tool, he excels in more areas than either Tucker or Cruz. It should be noted, however, that 2020 first-round pick Nick Gonzalez could throw a wrench into all of this. While he will likely end up at second base long-term, he has all the tools needed to be a well above league average hitter at the MLB level when his time comes. So again, when you break it down between Cole Tucker, O'Neal Cruz, and Liver Peguero, I go Peguero as my top shortstop in the farm system. I mean, he can do a bit of everything. That's what you like to see. The fact that he's a good hitter, he's going to have a bit of power in the future, he can run well, and is a good fielder. And the more I look into the Starling Marte trade, the more I fall in love with it. I mean, getting Brennan Malone too, but Liver Peguero is definitely the best piece out of that bunch. And I would say, it would probably take Peguero another 5 years to get to the majors. Let's say Newman moves on in 5 years. Peguero will slot right into Kevin Newman's spot. And it might be a situation where you had with Jordy Mercer and Kevin Newman, where Jordy Mercer sort of groomed Newman. I mean, it ended up being Eric Gonzalez being the starter to begin last season. But you get the point, and it could end up being Kevin Newman grooms Liver Peguero. And again, that all depends on how the Pirates plan to use Nick Gonzalez. I see Gonzalez being a second baseman long term, and Gonzalez could move Frazier off the second base position. It'll take a couple years for that to happen, but let's say when Frazier becomes a free agent, then you can go Nick Gonzalez at second base, Liver Peguero at short, Key Brian Hayes at third. We'll see what happens at first base long term with Bell, but then you get Brian Reynolds in the outfield, Travis Swaggerty in that outfield, Jared Oliva behind the plate if they go get that Bush kid. And then the pitching staff, it's going to be pretty solid too. You have guys like Quinn Priester, Cody Bolton, Brennan Malone, as well as currently in there Mitch Keller, Trevor Williams, Joe Musgrove. So there's a lot of things they can do in the farm system. Now I'm starting to like the farm system more and more as Ben Cherington continues to tinker with it as the new general manager. And that's just going to about do it for our show today. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to Bucco-booth this week. Again, if you're listening live, I apologize for having it at 3 p.m. I had a passport appointment at 12:30, which, of course, I had to schedule it. But thank you all for tuning in, no matter if it was live, archived, whatever platform. I would greatly appreciate it if you could just do the little share button, send it to a couple friends, maybe put it on your Facebook, Twitter, whatever, spread the word. And hopefully by this time next week, we'll have a baseball deal. And I really hope this health situation doesn't throw a wrench into things. I try to keep it positive with you this week. But have a great rest of the weekend and a great week, and we'll see you back here at noon on Saturday for another episode of Bucco-booth. Let's go, Bucks!